Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. Millions of people around the world and of all ages have succumbed to the disease, multiple sclerosis, a debilitating condition resulting from the immunity system going awry, leaving patients helpless and often hopeless. Producer Yvonne Lou meets MS patients in Hong Kong and sees how they strive to rise to the occasion.
Can I have the white table? If I've got it in the table because I can't bend my back, so. Yeah, now it's easier.
In this brain teaser, Verena Nainani has trouble grabbing hold of one marble at a time and dropping it off. She has multiple sclerosis, a disease affecting the brain, spinal cord, and optic nerves by attacking the myelin coating of the nerves, causing lesions and exposing the fibers. This disrupts the transmission of signals between our brain and our body parts.
I'm just very tired now. You can see when I'm tired, my dexterity isn't as good.
Dexterity required the normal function of the central nervous system that coordinates our contraction of the muscle to generate power.
Verena used to be a kindergarten teacher.
I was 25, and at that time, I was at the prime of my life. I was doing really well with my work. Suddenly, I was in the lesson, I would have that urge to go to the toilet. If I don't go, I'm gonna have an accident.
The nerve cells responsible for the normal control of sphincter function are disturbed, causing frequency of urination.
Concomitantly, Verena's legs began growing tired easily.
Due to injury in the fibers that originate from the brain and nerve cells in the spinal cord traveling down to form those nerves that is essential to instruct our muscle to contract and generate the power.
I remember at the end of the day, I'd walk down the stairs and I would sit at the bottom of the stairs and I would cry because I couldn't understand what was happening with me. Thank you.
Verena consulted her family doctor.
I said to him, you know, I've Googled bladder incontinence and weakness in legs. Do you think I have a condition called multiple sclerosis? Then he said, no, don't even think about it. Indian people never get MS.
In the Caucasian population, this disease is much more common compared to, for example, Asians, Africans.
But there's no conclusive etiology of multiple sclerosis.
There is genetic factors. Environmental factors also contribute. For example, this disease is more common with increasing latitude away from the equator.
Verena ended up consulting 5 specialists.
And everyone said, you're perfectly healthy, it's psychosomatic. They gave me tranquilizers. And I was like, no, it's not anxiety because I know my body.
Some of the symptoms will be quite specialized to neurological symptoms. And family physicians may not be very alert to the possibility of disease.
Then one urologist gave her an ultrasound.
And he said, yes, your bladder is active, but I think the problem is higher up.
He sent her to a neurologist who gave her an MRI brain scan.
They found lesions on the brain. When I was diagnosed with MS officially, I just felt like I was being punched in the face because I had so much difficulty, and you know, I had to give up a job where I was doing very well. I was traveling with my friends, and I just felt like, why is this happening to me?
In the 8 months she was going through the tests, Verena was also preparing for her marriage.
Girls are worried about what they're gonna wear, where's their wedding. I was like, not really bothered.
It's the person you are marrying, right? It's not the MS, it's not the cold, it's not the cancer.
They married in August 2004. For 5 years after diagnosis, Verena could still stand and walk. Then her legs became stiff.
When the normal modulation of the nerve cells in the spinal cord is affected, this will cause the increased tone of the muscles of the legs, and the patient complains of very stiff legs.
Just stretch, because I've been sitting. No.
Verena also had back spasms.
When there is erratic action potentials being discharged from these damaged nerve fibers, sometimes it can cause the spasm.
Soon, Verena had to use a wheelchair.
I'm not able to stand now.
MS can be classified into 3 main types: relapsing remitting, secondary progressive. Verena belongs to the rarest type, primary progressive MS.
Since the onset, these patients already have progressive deterioration.
Here I'm 140 and she's at 112, so I'm not doing too badly.
Interferon is the most critical among an array of drugs in Hong Kong to relieve MS symptoms.
Interferon reduces the tendency for the immune cells to attack the nerve cells.
Initially, Verena refused to let her doctor prescribe interferon.
I want to do it naturally. I'm so young. I'm just going to turn 26.
This February, a decade after her diagnosis, Verena relented because her MRI had shown new lesions. But she doesn't qualify to pay only $10 for 16 weeks of interferon injections in public hospitals.
When the disease progresses, then there will also be damage to the nerve fiber itself, becoming narrowed and then thin out. Then the interferon will no longer be effective. We will usually examine the patient's activity level. They use the EDSS level 5, meaning that they can only walk at 200 meters or 500 meters without any assistance. If you give them some treatment which is not effective, it might create a certain false hope that this is going to work.
People who need it are the ones who are in wheelchairs because they don't want to get worse.
Verena is buying her interferon injections from the Queen Mary Hospital for about $2,000 a week. To cut costs, she has her helper injected at home. Hiring a private nurse could cost up to $500 for each injection.
You stop working, so you're not bringing in an income. And it's not really easy, and it just puts more stress on the patient.
Verena also needs costly special equipment, like this physiotherapist-designed hoist she ordered online from Poland for 20,000 Hong Kong dollars.
A lot of money, but it's worth it. I wanted something to sort of alleviate the strain on everyone around me. They use the hoist to take me to the room, or out of the bathroom to go onto the bed. We install these bars. When they lift me, at least I can pull myself up, because my arms are still quite strong for when I need to turn, or if I do some exercise, then I use it.
For almost a year now, Verena has been getting hydrotherapy twice a week at Kowloon Hospital.
Verena, we'll take a blood pressure first before we go into water. So just relax. Take my knees. Okay, just have a try. The hips and the knees are quite stiff. This exercise can help her easier to get the trousers, as well as to help her going into and out of the wheelchair and turning on the back.
Before I could not lie like this, so I find a huge improvement and I feel great.
Due to the water's buoyancy and also the warmth of the water, the lower limbs muscles and also the joints has been relaxed. Now she is able to open her lower legs a little bit more. The swimming exercise itself can help promote her cardiovascular function, which can reduce her fatigue symptoms, which is one of the very typical symptoms of multiple sclerosis.
As MS sufferers become gradually disabled,
The biggest burden is the people around you.
Hong Kong can't accommodate our small group of MS patients.
more on that after the break.